Hey there! Today we're making texturing and basic rigging for Arthur. Unfortunately, due to recording errors, some of the parts weren't recorded properly, but I hope you all can understand what's going on the screen nevertheless. I'll demonstrate here my workflow, and as always, feedback and constructive criticism are appreciated, since I myself can see plenty of mistakes that I hope to improve. Unfortunately, I didn't record making UV seams, or I did that in the previous video, I don't remember. You can quote-unquote trust me bro on that one. I generally consider myself bad at UV editing, but one thing that makes the experience less daunting for me is always using the check texture on the model. It helps you preview how the texture generally lands on the model. Another thing I strongly advise you to learn is texel density. It helps you determine the island scale depending on your texture size. Use the pack islands feature so Blender redoes the island packing, keeping the scale ratio approximate to what you intend. I highly recommend you to use the texel density checker add-on, which you can find for free. For texturing, I use Uku Paint, I don't know how to pronounce it, which you probably heard of before. If not, it's basically a minimalist substance painter free add-on. I don't understand people who say it's the replacement for substance painter. In my opinion it's not, but it's definitely better than the OG texture painting Blender section. I also tried the Armor Paint app, but it's more of a PBR material maker, I guess, which I'm bad at currently, so I didn't stick with it. But if it's something you're into, go ahead and try it. It's open source, so you can build it for yourself. There's a tutorial for that. I also used some custom brushes I made myself using Krita. I basically used Krita default brushes and added them to Blender. It's pretty easy to do, you can find many tutorials on adding your own brush presets. Mostly I make my textures hand painted. To determine where the shades and lights land on the model, I use a small trick by adding two light sources with the Uku paint, and then paint the lights and shadows based on it. Making a rig probably took me the most to figure out. Recently I've been learning to use CloudRig for my models, which is basically a fork of Ridgify. When I started learning Blender, Ridgify seemed like a newbie tool for me, but now I find it really useful, especially if you're a beginner. While the layout may confuse you, it is really versatile and I definitely recommend you to try it at least once. CloudRig is more manual, it just gives you tools and lets you play around with them, which is one of the reasons why it took me a long time to figure it out. Another is that it's not documented as Ridgify. I could only find tuts made by Noisy Bois. Sorry if I mispronounced it. He speaks in French but has English subtitles on most of his videos, and I highly recommend you to see his videos if you wanna give CloudRig a try. He explains it really well. Thank you a lot, Noisy Bois. Like with topology, find the basic loops around the eyes and lips. You can add as many bows as you want. You're only limited by your willingness to manage all of the molds you created. My layout is definitely not the best, but it does its job in a way. After adding most of the deformation bones, I add the master bones that will control multiple bones to ease your life. This video is shorter than the previous one despite taking me more than a week to figure out the things, but I hope you enjoy it nevertheless. Thank you and see you later!